Hey guys, Greg Denny. Are you or someone in your family addicted to screens? The likely answer to that is probably yes and yes. As much as I love technology and so much good that it brings in our life, it's causing a lot of problems, isn't it? There's constant distraction, constant avoiding our responsibilities and other things we should be working on, and just spending our lives staring at a device. And there's other kinds of negative consequences. And it's causing a lot of problems. You see, I've been working with families now for 2 decades. And especially in the last 15 years, I've seen this massive increase in screen addictions and all the side effects of that. And so I want to help with this because now, more and more as I'm doing more mentoring and coaching with youth and with parents and families, it's becoming a huge problem. And it's causing relationship problems and health problems and mental problems and emotional problems and all kinds of side effects that were totally unexpected. Now, again, I love technology. I think it should be a part of our lives. We need to have it, as a part of our lives, but in a super healthy way. So I want to give strategies that actually work, that I've implemented in my own family and with the people I coach and mentor. So number one, these are the most effective ways to help ourselves or our family overcome screen addiction. Number one, you have to get them to choose. You have to want it. And so you yourself, you have to want it. And if it's your child, you have to get them to want it and be willing to work on it, right? And so getting them to buy in is the most important thing. And what I do when I'm working with a youth that's just all in, I just have to ask them. And usually it's just a good conversation, just talking to them. Or it'll be something like I'll have a mentoring meeting or coaching session, and I'll just say, hey, you tell me, what are some big goals? What's something you're working on? What's something you're excited about? And they usually have something, but even if some of them, like if it's really bad, they're like, nothing, I got nothing. And I can tell like they're really into it. But I'll come up with something they want to become, something they want to do, something they want to achieve, some goal, some dream. And we get talking, and then I'll ask, what's the number one thing keeping you from your goals? What's the one big obstacle standing in your way that's holding you back from your peak potential? Almost without exception, it's either a phone or something on a screen, like video games or TV. Almost without exception. And they acknowledge that, and then the next easy question is, what would you like to do about it? They're like, well, yeah, to be totally honest, and even the most like hardcore addicts are like, to be honest, I really need to cut back. Boom, awesome, right? You gotta get them to be willing to opt in. Now, as a parent especially, or even with yourself, even if you're not that willing, because that's the thing about an addiction, you want your addiction. But even if you're not quite willing, and if they're not quite willing, there still needs to be limitations. As powerful as technology is, we have to limit it in our houses, in our homes, in our families. And depending on the age of their kids and what they're using them for, it varies, but there has to be limitations, and they need to be far stricter than the vast majority of families have right now. Like in our family, like I would say limited to an hour or two and only using them for productive things. Like we have some strict rules, and it makes a huge difference. I can tell like that just instantly when there's too much screen time in my family, and I can see the effect when it goes way back down, the way they interact with each other, the other interests they have, the things they're doing. It makes a big difference. Okay, number 2. We have to remember that it is an actual addiction. It's a mind addiction and a physical addiction. It's a body addiction. And here's what happens when we're looking at it and we're getting the dings, the alerts, the notifications, the cool videos, the music, the awards and the games and the levels and the rewards and like all that stuff. It's all set up off our psychology, and so the mind gets addicted to it. It likes to see those things. It likes to do those things. It likes to get us to move and act. Like they're all designed like that. It's really strategic. And so the mind gets addicted to it, and the mind releases chemicals into the body, and so the body gets addicted to it. So it literally is an addiction, and we need to understand that. And so trying to overcome it and replace it, we're going to face a mental and physical addiction, like removal. Like there's going to be there's likely to be some difficulty and some loss and some strain, and like overcoming all addictions, there could be a little bit of ugly in there and a little bit of hurt and struggle. Be okay with that. Don't expect perfection out of yourself or out of your children, but do hold high standards, and realize there's going to be a struggle, and that's okay. So I mean, understand it. Like, understand it's a real deal here and here. It's real, and as you're going through this process of changing, it can be tough, and that's okay. Just roll through it anyways. Keep that vision and where you're going. Remember, you opted in, you chose in, and they chose in. Help them keep going towards that goal. Number 3, here is hands down the most effective way to overcome any addiction, and it's to replace it. If we only try to just willpower it and just say, I'm going to stop doing that, and then we leave this space open, this void, we're going to slip back to it. And so, in all the people I've worked with, all the things I've studied over 2 decades, all around the world, literally the most effective thing in overcoming addictions or even bad habits is to replace them with good habits and even good addictions, right? It's get in something that you love to do. And instead of every time you were likely to turn to that addiction, in this case a screen, you set it up so you turn to something else. Now, is this going to require some investment and maybe some sacrifice and some effort? Yeah, absolutely, but worth any cost. So worth it. We literally spend tens of thousands of dollars in our family every year to make sure our kids are doing incredible things, right? We'll pay for big adventures. Our daughter's in Guatemala right now, right? Took a son to Iceland, took another kid to Nepal. I'm taking 2 kids with me. We're going to Mongolia in a few weeks. I mean, we're doing big things, and it's a huge investment, right? Because well, and there's way more awesome lessons and experiences and growth that come from that. But one of the big things is we're invested in doing amazing things, and it makes it so much easier to steer away from, the boredom or the entertainment, or just like, I got nothing to do. I'm nothing I'm excited about. I find people turn to screens all the time if they don't have something really exciting they're working on. So find something exciting, find something they can be constantly doing, a sport, music, art, some kind of lesson, some kind of exercising, like whatever it is, something physical or something they can do that's off screen that they just love and they turn to all the time. And every time they feel like want to do that, they can go to their thing. Like, find that thing, find out what it is, have them try a whole bunch of different things. Like, I'll put my kids in all kinds of different lessons. I'll get my mentees trying all kinds of different things until they find like, oh man, I love that. I didn't think I would, but I love it. That's your thing. Go, 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 go. And that's what you turn to. So replace it. That's the big thing. Next, you have to reinforce it. So that's number 4. You have to reinforce it. By that, I mean, we have to set up systems and habits in our houses that help keep this going. Like, the worst thing for an alcoholic is to drive past the same bar every night on the way home from work where his buddies are on the porch at the door saying, come on, what are you doing? Come on. Like, that's brutal, right? He's had a bad day at work. He's driving home. There's buddies. He's like, right? Terrible. He needs to find a different way home, get some different friends, different hobbies. He's got to just totally set up systems to reinforce his new habits and his replacements, right? And so in your house, you got to set up new systems. So devices go away for many hours of the day. They just shut down. Internet's off. Like, whatever it is, set up the systems that reinforce it, and you hold each other accountable, and there's rewards, and there's consequences, and there's new activities as a family. Like, and if parents too, so back to the limitations thing, parents need to be on limitations as well. And parents need to lead the examples in this. So if they set up systems across the family, right? And I know you're like, I gotta have this, I gotta have that. I have my own addictions to deal with, right? But we have to set up systems. So you got to get things in place that will reinforce it all. So sit down as a family, and when you're talking through this, say, you guys, what can we do to make sure this changes? How can we set things up? What can we have as a new family culture, as a new family hobby, new family activities? What can we do together that is going to really keep us away from this and really keep us focused on our replacement? Okay? And then number 5, which I think is one of the most important things for long-lasting change and real results, is to have a mentor and a coach. Because we get coaches for sports, we get coaches for music lessons, for art, whatever, but too few of us have a coach that helps us get through life and do it effectively and well. And if we've got someone who's inspiring us and motivating us and holding us accountable, it makes a gigantic difference. And so I've been coaching and mentoring youth and families for 19 years and more, actually, and I've been doing it internationally, abroad, in 5 continents, all over the place. I love it, and I'm doing it online a lot. And so I have classes that I meet with youth, and we're reading from phenomenal books, and I'm doing great projects and challenges. We're surrounded by a great group of youth. So you have support, you have your tribe helping you, right? And then we're having great discussion. I'm teaching them, leading them, holding them accountable to make these changes and inspiring them to do it, and giving them big projects and goals. And my mentees, the youth I'm working with, the families I'm working with, you see these massive transformations. It's incredible. And so I've got classes for youth, I've got classes for parents, got a monthly coaching program, and check out the link down below. And we have classes going through the summer, through fall and spring. I mean, you got to check this stuff out because it makes a gigantic difference. And you can see all the testimonials on there of the amazing changes that are happening in lives as we are consistently getting mentoring and following through to this awesome stuff. So you guys, you can do this. Again, I love technology. We need to have it in our lives. We need to access the power and the opportunity there, but it has to be limited. And it has to be controlled, or it will control us. So follow these 5 steps. Ask me any questions here if you have any questions or suggestions. Follow these resources. Get in there. Let me help you and transform your family in that, overcome those addictions. And I promise, if we can use these powerful things to be tools for us instead of being a tool to them, it'll make a total difference in our lives, and we can live extraordinary lives. Awesome is always an option. Reach upward.